Alrighty, well, welcome back to the Empty Betters YouTube channel. Yes, this is a hockey podcast, but per usual, this time of year, every year, we always do a NCAA March Madness preview. We are welcomed by our good friends, personal friends, Corey Goldstein, Garrett Simanski, college basketball junkies. We appreciate you two for joining us. So what we got on tap for this March Madness preview for y'all, we're going to be picking all 32 first-round matchups. We'll be talking some 5v12 potential upsets, sleeper teams, overrated teams, and we will end this show with a Final Four and championship pick. So, before we get started, real quick, you guys just want to say who you're rooting for in this tournament, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, I'll start. I think I want to see Tennessee go far just because of Dalton Connect. It's pretty electric offensively. Tennessee's kind of known to be like a big defensive school, but this year they have this guy Connect who transferred in, and he's putting up like 30 points a game. So I think he could be a difference maker for them to actually make a good run this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all over the Big East, as you can tell. A lot of disrespect on Selection Sunday. Fuck Virginia, if I'm allowed to curse on this podcast.
Oh, you are, and this is a big fuck Virginia podcast.
Good.
So
I'll say it again. Fuck Virginia.
Good.
So two teams I'm definitely looking at. I know everybody's all over Drake, but big redemption year this year. Tucker DeVries shit the bed last year against Miami, and I think this will be a big bounce back for him. And then the other one, I love Yale. I don't know. I always have a bias toward the Ivy, but I think they're going to take down Auburn in the first round. So that's a little teaser of one of my first picks.
Nice.
I love it. All right, well, we won't waste any time. We're going to start off with rapid fire 32 first round matchups. We're going to start in the East. So I'll read the matchup, and then the other four gentlemen will give me their pick. Let's take a guess on this one. UConn and Stetson.
Yeah, I got UConn.
Go Huskies.
Huskies.
UConn, baby.
All righty, we got FAU Northwestern.
I'm taking Northwestern.
FAU for me.
You know, there's something about Big Ten schools in the tournament that I know they're going to lose, and I pick them anyway. So Northwestern.
FAU.
San Diego State and UAB.
San Diego State for me.
Yeah, same here. San Diego State.
Same here.
Really wanted to take the Dragons, but can't do it. So San Diego.
We got Auburn and Yale.
I got Auburn. I'm pretty high on them this year.
Yeah, I'll take Yale.
I got the Tigers.
I'm also pretty big on Auburn this year. I'll explain why later.
BYU and Duquesne.
I don't think Duquesne should be an 11 seed, so I'm taking BYU.
Yeah, I'll take BYU also.
Bring them, baby.
Go Dukes. I actually almost went to Duquesne. Fun fact. So that's I got a little love for them, but yeah, they're on a hot streak. Go Duquesne.
I almost did too, Mac. Fun fact. Illinois and Morehead State.
Illinois.
Illinois for me too. Terrence Shannon coming out party this year. Just get ready for that dude in this tournament.
Physically pains me to say it, but Illinois.
Illinois, but they ain't going deep. They ain't going deep.
Washington State and Drake.
I got Drake.
Yep, Drake too.
Drake 3.
Washington State.
Iowa State and South Dakota State.
I have Iowa State.
Yep, Iowa State for me.
Give me the Cyclones, baby. Iowa State.
Same here.
And then we're going to move to the West. We've got Tar Heels, and from what I'm seeing here, we don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm still going to take UNC.
Yeah, I'll take Carolina.
Yep, Tar Heels. Easy money.
Yes.
This one shouldn't be highly contested. Mississippi State and Michigan State.
I don't know why, but I'm taking Michigan State. It's Izzo in March. I'm doing the cliche.
I almost changed this just for this podcast, but I am going to take the Bulldogs. Sorry about that, Nick.
Fair. We'll deal with the friendship later. Go Sparty, baby. Come on. We need it.
I don't know. This is one of the hardest ones for me. I have Michigan State right now, but I could really see this one going either way.
St. Mary's and Grand Canyon.
I have Grand Canyon.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me. I've gone back and forth, but I'm going to stick with St. Mary's for now.
Same here.
Same. I think there's something kind of special about that team, I think. St. Mary's.
We got Alabama and Charleston.
Bama, too athletic.
I'm going to take Charleston. Johnny Fanta gave a crazy stat. Charleston is 20-0 when they score 80 or more points, and Alabama doesn't play defense. So that's where I'm at there.
Ooh.
Charleston's amazing 3-point shooting team. Fuck them for what they did to our Towson Tigers. So go Bama, baby.
We stand.
It's Bama.
Clemson, New Mexico.
I love New Mexico.
Yeah, same here.
New Mexico in March, baby.
New Mexico, and it's not even close.
Baylor, Colgate.
I thought about taking Colgate, but I have Baylor.
Yeah, go Bears. I'll take Baylor.
Baylor.
Baylor, but they ain't going deep.
Dayton and Nevada.
Yeah, this one's a toss-up for me. I put Dayton.
Yeah, I'll take Dayton too.
I went with Nevada for this one.
I also think Nevada's got it.
Ooh. EB versus non-EB. Arizona and Long Beach State.
It's such a classic spot for Arizona to lose, but I'm going to take them.
Yeah, I'll take Arizona too.
Same here.
Yeah, Arizona.
Houston, Longwood.
Houston.
I'll take Houston.
Easy.
Houston.
Nebraska and Texas A&M.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm taking another Big Ten school here. I just feel like Nebraska's hot, and I'm not really impressed with A&M.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I'm taking the Aggies. Sorry, taking the Cornhuskers. Maybe that's a Freudian slip there.
I am taking the Aggies, so that works.
I'm Nebraska here.
Wombo, aka Wisco, versus James Madison.
Yeah, this seems like a matchup everyone's talking about, but I'm still going to take Wisconsin here.
Yeah, I'm back and forth. A little teaser about JMU for me, but they might be my big sleeper this year, so we'll see.
Going with the Dukes, baby.
I've also got JMU. I'm biased, huge Marquette guy, but I think that Wisconsin team is incredibly mid.
Duke, Vermont.
Go Blue Devils.
Yeah, I'll take Duke.
Duke, easy money.
I actually think that Vermont team is good, but there's just a nightmare matchup. So Duke.
Texas Tech, NC State.
Texas Tech.
I'll go Texas Tech too.
Give me the Wolf Pack.
Texas Tech.
Kentucky, Oakland.
I think this is a good spot for Oakland, but I think Kentucky's too talented this year. So
Yeah, I think Kentucky, if they can give it their all every single game, I think they have a chance to win the whole thing. So I'll definitely take Kentucky here.
Kentucky in March, you just can't pick against it.
Yep, Kentucky.
We got Florida, and then I'm seeing unknown matchup at the moment.
Florida.
I'm going to take the winner of that unknown matchup. I like both those teams defensively. I think they can probably slow down Florida, but we'll see.
I'm going to go with the Gators.
I have a feeling, I think it's Colorado versus somebody, and I think Colorado will win, and then I'm picking them to beat Florida.
Okay, then. Marquette in Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I got Marquette.
I like Marquette too.
Shaka.
Go Golden Eagles, baby.
Purdue versus unknown 16 seed, but I'm assuming we're all Purdue.
It doesn't
Do it,
matter.
Garrett.
No.
Do it, Garrett.
No, I think Purdue's improved from last year as much as that pains me. So I have Purdue.
Yeah, I'll take Purdue as well.
I would love to see them lose this game, but going Purdue.
Agree with Nick.
Utah State, TCU.
TCU.
Yeah, I'll take TCU also.
Go Frogs, baby.
Yep, same here.
Gonzaga versus McNeese. How am I saying that?
McNeese.
Almost
Yeah,
said McNeese.
They have like the most wins in college this year. I'm going to take Gonzaga. Just marked few as constant Sweet 16.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, McNeese 30 wins. You can obviously go against that, but I just think Mark Few, Gonzaga, they're going to come on late, and yeah, I think they're going to ride.
There's something about having a well-coached program like that it basically doesn't matter what your ranking is like once you make it to the tournament. I got the Zags.
Yep, nothing else to add there.
Could have worn my glasses because I'm reading that now, and that was such a brutal pronunciation, but nonetheless, Kansas and Samford.
Yeah, this is my big upset. I have Samford in this one.
Yeah, I definitely support that. I'm going to take Kansas with Hunter coming back, but I definitely could see that game being just absolute mayhem.
Yeah, they have too much injuries on Kansas.
Rock chalk.
Kansas.
Gamecocks, Ducks.
Ducks.
Yeah, I'll take the Ducks coming on late here. I think they may be poised for another potential run here.
Gonna stamp them with the fun team too. Gonna go with the Ducks.
This was hard for me, but I stuck with South Carolina.
Creighton, Akron.
Creighton.
Yeah, go Blue Jays.
Yep, Creighton.
Pains me to say it, but that is a very good basketball team, Creighton.
Longhorns versus unknown 10.
Yeah, I think the Longhorns are mid this year, Harry. I think Colorado State is going to get past Virginia and then advance.
Yeah, it really is like this little trio of really bad teams that they stuck at the bottom of the bracket. I'll ride with Texas, even though I don't like them very much.
I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah, I have Texas.
And then lastly, Tennessee and St. Peter's.
Tennessee.
I'll take the Bulls.
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
And that god awful orange.
Alrighty, well, that runs through all 32 first round matchups. Let's chat some 5v12 upsets. Which ones are you guys eyeballing? Which ones do you think have the best chance of an upset? Let's hear your thoughts.
So only 5-12 I have is probably not the most popular one. I have Grand Canyon advancing over St. Mary's. And I know St. Mary's is a solid program. They had a good year, but I was looking at Grand Canyon's like schedule, and they had a pretty tough out of conference schedule, and I saw they beat San Diego State, who was in the Final Four last year. So, and they have great offense, so I picked Grand Canyon to advance there. But I think the two like popular ones that everyone, obviously JMU, I think out of like the millions of brackets people submit, I feel like JMU might be the more popular pick there. And I would agree, but Wisconsin has played really well in the Big Ten tournament over the weekend, and I think they got some mojo back on offense there. So I'm just gonna, and there was no 5-12 upsets last year, fun fact. So I'm just gonna keep Wisconsin there. And then I think the third one is McNeese. A lot of people are going to have them just on the amount of wins they have. But like I said, Mark Few in March, I got to go with the Zags there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start on JMU. I said the same exact thing. As soon as they won the conference, I texted every group chat I was in, and I said every person will be taking JMU no matter what. I actually am going to go that way. I usually do fade the public, but I won't here. I think Wisconsin could be in some trouble. I think that they got away with a win against Purdue, which was pretty cool, losing 3 players to fouls against Edey. They have 2 NBA players in Terrence Edwards and TJ Bickerstaff that are both really, really good. I think Wisconsin relies on AJ Storr like a little bit too much late in shot clocks. And then I think just from a numbers perspective, JMU actually shoots the 3 at the 33% best rate in the country. And Wisconsin's number 346 in the country at defending the 3. So I think if JMU can come out, and I mean, this is what we see with mid-majors, right? Like they come out hot, crowd gets into it, and then all of a sudden a boring offense like Wisconsin can't get going again. So I think that's why I'm pretty high on JMU. I wouldn't be shocked if they beat Wisconsin and then Duke as well. And then just to touch on McNeese, Will Wade is their coach, who used to coach VCU and LSU, proven college basketball winner, even though he did some pretty shady shit. But they do have a point guard named Shahade Wells, who's from TCU, really, really good player. I think they're a really good program, and it's a really cool story for a guy like that. But again, it's Gonzaga coming on late. I mean, McNeese is going to try and run with Gonzaga, and nobody does well doing that. So I think if you can't slow Gonzaga down, you don't really have a shot of beating them right now. So I'm going to go with JMU as my big one, but I still wouldn't be shocked if McNeese got it done.
I think the big reason why we all love the 5-12 matchup so much is it's a perfect mix of like, I want the upset to happen. If I'm betting on it, this is my best bang for the buck between what I'm going to get in return and actual likelihood that this is going to hit. That JMU game is so interesting. You know, Corey, you talk about them going up against a team with a lackluster offense and terrible at defending the three like Wisconsin. And just the fact that Big Ten teams are known to not do well for like the past 10 years in this tournament. JMU in like their second game of the year beat Michigan State already once. So they've proven that they can beat Big Ten teams. I think they can handle Wisconsin no problem.
Yeah, totally. And I think when you guys asked us to look at 5-12, I ended up picking 2-13s, which was crazy. And as we were going through, I realized that I'll probably change this up like 4 more times before I submit. But yeah, I think that the teams within like 3 to 6 are a lot closer than we think. Like the 4 and 5 seeds aren't that much further apart. So I think that the 4s and 5s actually got pretty tough draws this year in a pretty crazy automatic bid season that we had this year.
That's a good point. 1-5-12 we haven't talked much about. I know we said it in the overview that it's probably not going to happen for the upset, but wasn't UAB a team that won some games they weren't supposed to, either last year or the year before or something like that? Does anyone remember something like that, or am I making shit up here?
I just know Jelly Walker was Barstool's favorite player ever, so he's the one that I remember.
Yeah. I don't know if they made any noise in the tournament last year, though, if that's what you're referencing.
I thought I remember them winning like either 2 years ago or 1 year ago against somebody, but perhaps not. Either way, that San Diego State team is definitely dangerous. So
yeah, and it's pretty interesting that they put 3 Final Four teams from last year in the same little bubble there.
Yeah.
You know, they're definitely different teams this year. Like I'm pretty
Yeah.
down on FAU and SDSU, but you know,
Me
it seems
too.
like there was a narrative that was put together.
I feel like that if anything, SDSU and FAU were kind of overseeded just based on like what they did in the tournament last year. I definitely didn't see FAU being an 8 seed. I thought they were like more on the bubble, honestly.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
When they lost, I thought that they were easy out. And I mean, I'll keep talking about it, but the fact that St. John's didn't get in over any of these teams in
That is
conferences is
brutal.
crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah.
And you guys are kind of segueing this perfectly into the sleepers and perhaps overrated teams in this tournament. Maybe list, 2, 3, whatever your thoughts are. The floor is yours. Actually, the floor is not yours. I want to say this stat that I read on Twitter because I saved it for this. And after that, the floor is yours. Interesting note for Oregon head coach Dana Altman. He's undefeated in the round of 64. He's 7-0, and he's 15-5 against the spread in all March Madness games.
Damn.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's why we pick a guy like that. Like there were retirement rumors during the year this year. And I think one of the things that happened to them is that they had 2 really good freshmen that just didn't gel with the team right away. And now we're seeing that come on. So I feel like that's like a theme with Oregon. It's like start kind of hot, get a little cold during the year. And then all of a sudden we look back and they're in the Elite 8. So love that.
That's what you want. I mean, you want to figure your shit out early. Like you want the growing pains to be done by the end of January. So you still have something to play for come, conference tournament time.
Yeah.
Now the floor is yours. Sorry.
So for me, one of the sleeper teams that I have that I feel like you get a lot of value to go far is Auburn. Just because they're in UConn's region. I feel like everyone's gonna pick UConn to come out of that region, which is smart because I think they're the best team. But they did get a really bad draw. The 1, 2, 3, and 4, or the 2, 3, and 4 in their regions are very tough. They all won their conference tournaments. Iowa State was very impressive this year. Defensively, they blew out Houston, who was a top 2 team all year in their conference championship game. And then you have Illinois, who's obviously hot, has just won the Big Ten tournament. But I think Auburn is sneaky the best team in the SEC this year that kind of flew under the radar. They're just a complete team. And I think the SEC was kind of all around the best conference. So I think if you want some value there, you could take Auburn to go D because they have to go through UConn in the Sweet 16. And I think they have a good shot in that game. I'm looking at my bracket and I have like a lot of chalk besides that. I just think the higher seeds are kind of not as good as they were last year, just because the bubble was so crazy. So I don't really see a crazy amount of upsets this year. I mean, that would probably age very poorly. But a double-digit seed I have advancing to the second weekend is New Mexico. Um, I'm really impressed with them on both sides of the ball, and they're hot right now in a packed Mountain West. They just won the Mountain West tournament, and I think they have an easy draw against Clemson, who's kind of falling off, and the ACC was weak this year. Baylor's kind of suspect on defense to me, so I have New Mexico advancing pretty far. Um, but yeah, other than that, it's nothing really, no sleeper teams for me besides those two.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on New Mexico. I think that team's awesome. I think we were all really excited to get a Patino versus Patino game because his son coaches New Mexico, but again, they got screwed. So yeah, totally in on New Mexico. I actually have them going all the way to the Elite Eight. Another team that I'll touch on a bit is Dayton. I think that Dayton Nevada game is awesome, and I actually think either of those teams has a chance to beat Arizona. I think Arizona's awesome. All their metrics are great, but they just threw a bunch of stinkers out there this year. Like random nights we wake up in the morning and they lost by 10 on their home court, and you're like, what the hell happened to that team?
Lost to Oregon State, who is like historically bad Power
Terrible.
6 school.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to
And
root for
yeah.
like UNC, but I would like to see a little Caleb Love rematch going
Oh,
on
yeah.
there. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
That'd be electric.
And if we get it, I think he scores 50. I think he's that kind of guy. He's definitely a dude. I do think one other thing I want to mention about Dayton is that they play super slow, and Arizona, all they want to do is run up and down. I think teams probably have a better chance of slowing you down than they do speeding you up. So I think if Dayton can control the game, get the ball to Deron Holmes, who's second team all NCAA against Arizona, I think they actually have a good shot of winning that game.
I have an interesting stat I want to read you guys before we close out here. Saw this on Twitter the other day. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt. It is I'm usually not a big like advanced analytics guy, but I thought this was at least interesting, worth mentioning. So it comes from Connor Allen. He says 95% of national champions have ranked 21st or better in adjusted offensive efficiency and 37th or better in adjusted defensive efficiency. And so just going on, I'm not going to explain like the whole model of how he figured all this out, but going off of that, teams this year that like meet those criteria that like are above that threshold for offense and defense: UConn, Purdue, Duke, Arizona, Auburn, Creighton, Houston, and Marquette. And then you also had North Carolina and Texas Tech just underneath that criteria. And then he listed 5 teams that are like a lot of people are hot on that do not make that criteria. And that's Iowa State, Illinois, Alabama, Kentucky, and Baylor. So just something to think about. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked on Illinois not being in there, but
They were at let's see, he listed the Illinois 93rd in D. That's why they didn't make the criteria.
I'm sure Iowa State is the opposite. I'm sure their offense is not
55th in offense. Yep.
Yeah, I feel really strongly about Kentucky. I just found myself watching all their games this year. They have like 4 NBA ready guys like right now, like Rob Dillingham. You could plug into an NBA team right now and he'll probably give you 20 on any given night. So
it's a classic Calipari roster.
It is. So if they can just like toughen up a little bit and stay in front of one person on the floor, I think they'd probably have a good shot at a run, but also like Oakland could come out, shoot the lights out, and there goes another Calipari great team.
And Oakland's like not a bad program. I mean, they do tend to play Sparty once a year just because they're up in that area, but this is such a shitty draw for them to have to go up against a blue blood program like that.
Yeah, it happened all over the place this year. I thought it was crazy that they said that they had finished almost all the seeds up by Friday night, which tells you that like conference tournament to the committee just doesn't matter as much, but it's still something that we all should take a look at, even if the committee doesn't seed teams that way.
All right, let's jump into the steak and potatoes of the episode. Everybody's going to want to hear this. Let's get the Final Four championship and champion. Garrett, you lead off.
Yeah, so boring. I have UConn, and then I got Houston, and then I have Tennessee coming out of that region. I just couldn't take Purdue, and that's not really me being biased. I think it's partly because of the officiating in the Big Ten. they just give Edie like every call, it seems like, and they're just the Big Ten refs are kind of more uh they just call way more fouls. I feel like it's just that there's the flow of the game's bad compared to other conferences, and I think if Purdue's not once they stop getting calls on Edie, they're not really gonna know what to do. And yeah, I have Tennessee over them in the Elite Eight. And then the one region, the bottom left region, is the one that I hate. I feel like this could be a chaos region. Um, I have Zona coming out of that. Um, and Zona's I think was a first round exit at the last two tournaments. So that's yeah, I might change that one, but yeah, I have Arizona there.
And then let's get
Uh,
your championship and then champion.
Sure, yeah, UConn over Tennessee in my championship.
Alrighty, Mr.
Love it.
Corey.
Yeah, I'll take UConn out of the East region. That team has just been so good. Even when they go on scoring droughts, you just blink and turn around and they're up by 15 points. So I did take UConn out of a pretty tough region. I went back and forth on this a lot. I actually ended up taking Kentucky over Houston in the Elite Eight. In the South region. I've loved Houston all year, but lack of depth is a little bit scary. So I am gonna hope that Kentucky can turn it on. And then in the West region, I am gonna take North Carolina. I think losing that championship game in the ACC championship is really gonna light a fire under them, especially against NC State, their in-state rival. I love that team. I think RJ Davis and Armando Bacot are about to leave, and I think that they just have a little bit more moxie than some of the other teams in that region. And then the last one, I do have Creighton going. I love Ryan Kalkbrenner, love Baylor Shireman. I just love the way that team plays. I think there's not a lot of teams that are really going to slow them down unless, they are going to have to get through Tennessee. But I do think that Creighton's going to be able to get past Gonzaga in the Elite Eight if they play against them. And then I have UConn over North Carolina, Kentucky over Creighton. And then I'm also on UConn as a champion. Just really, really hard for me not to pick that team. They're just so ridiculous. And yeah, big Husky fan.
Mr. Manella.
Not to sound all chalk or to completely copy what Corey just said, but for everything he just said, that's the reason I have the Huskies coming out of the East. I have Zona coming out of the West. Those two are going to match up in the Final Four. From the South, I have the Golden Eagles from Marquette making their Final Four. And I actually have Kansas, believe it or not. And it pained me physically to write that in, but I just couldn't think of a way where they don't. I have them just edging out Creighton to get there. My championship matchup, I'm going with the Huskies again. They edge out the Golden Eagles by, I think, like 5 or 6 points.
Big East. Love that. Mac, do we have an update on Kolek yet? Is he going to play?
I'm sure he's probably going to play. I would guess he was probably ready a game or two ago and they're just playing it extra safe. That's my best guess, but I don't think there's an official update. I think Shaka got asked about it and he had kind of a snarky answer, like, "Are you going to ask me like every 5 seconds about this or something like that?" But
did they say he's practicing at least?
I'm not sure. I know it's oblique, so it's like that's a really tough one. It's like I think that like fucks with like your breathing and stuff like that too. So, but he's been out for a good while, so I would hope that he's like healed up now. We'll see. I do like how they've played without him though. They've showed some depth for sure, and I actually think Cam Jones is the best player on the team, but that's neither here nor there. My Final Four, I've got UConn versus North Carolina for East West, and then I've actually got Duke versus Gonzaga for the other side, and then I've got UConn over Gonzaga in the ship. I just think, having watched UConn and played them a bunch, it's like that team is just nasty. And it's obviously like I watch Big East more than anything else. So that's probably a somewhat biased answer, but I don't know. That UConn team is just, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so well coached too. And I think just the way they just ran through the entire tournament last year, it's like literally they won by like 15 points each game.
Talk about a team that like loves their coach too. Those guys absolutely love him.
And it's a different team from last year, which is crazy. Like
For
they're
sure.
doing the exact same thing as they did last year.
It's fucking frustrating.
Even
Like,
better,
it'll be
honestly.
it'll be annoying next year. Like next year we'll be annoyed by it. I feel like this year we just have to enjoy that. Like he's just done a really good job, and he's a psycho, but he deserves it.
Well, fellas, this is always one of the favorite episodes of the year, so we appreciate both of you for joining us. I think it's pretty funny that Nick, did you take UConn or no? I can't remember who you said.
I did.
So everybody
all
took
on
UConn. Jesus. Okay. Yeah.
gonna
What
age
could,
I
so
hope
well.
we're wrong. I really hope we're wrong. That'd be sick. But
what could possibly go wrong? But we appreciate you, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Everybody watching, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, it should be a fun March.
Cool. Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.